Like, this is totally not bashing allopathic medicine. There's definitely a time and place for it. I just think that we're way too quickly jumping to that as the first and only solution, when there's so many other ways that we can fix these problems that we're not even exploring.
What is up, people? Welcome to another episode of Happily Discontent, where we share some things, some information, some mindsets, and a little bit about what we do to better your today and tomorrow. So today, let's talk about wellness, the art of keeping yourself happy and healthy. It's tough to refute. It's a pretty fundamental thing, if you ask me. And so that's why we're going to dive into wellness. And specifically, we're going to zoom in on natural wellness, which is a bit of a buzzword. And as you know, at We Are Well and on Happily Discontent, we don't like buzzwords. So let's gas that and break down, what does the term natural wellness really mean? Because I think it is becoming a lot more popular. I don't know, Jay, you're into the Google Trends and stuff. I bet you natural wellness is on the motherfucking rise. But either way, doesn't mean shit if you don't know what that applies to, right? So we're joined here by the beautiful Linz, who actually joined our team because she is so passionate about natural wellness. So I'm going to give the floor to you. What comes to mind when you hear those two words paired together, natural and wellness? Okay,
I actually had to write down a definition for myself because there's a lot to encompass here and a lot to unpack.
It's not Scriptless Saturday.
So I wrote down healing your body and supporting your body with the things that grow on this earth, and using practices to help your body function how it's supposed to so you feel your best. So that's a lot. That's a lot.
So let's break it down a little bit. So when you say the practices, what kind of practices come to mind under that umbrella of natural?
I mean, everyday, simple tasks like sleeping enough. Tasks.
Ew.
Oh God. Sorry. I don't know another word for that, but everyday things that you can do to help your body that are so simple, not always the easiest, but they're really simple that I feel like people don't give enough emphasis to. So drinking enough water, sleeping enough, eating well, good quality food, things like that. So simple, but those are the type of things that I would consider to be a part of natural wellness.
And then would you group like things like breath work, meditation, exercise, all these kind of things? Even just getting some fresh air, I feel like it's so therapeutic, right?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely group those all together. And yeah, just helping your body function how it's supposed to. I feel like supporting your body through these exercises like, breath work, stress relief, anxiety relief, things like that. It all kind of comes together. It kind of comes full circle. When you're taking care of your body, you're taking care of your mind, you're taking care of your soul, and vice versa. Like all those are very interchangeable, I would say. So, yeah.
So I feel like right now there's been, in the domain of like medical research, there's been so many advancements in the medical field. And natural wellness, I think people sometimes consider it as like traditional wellness, right? And so with the world going in that direction, what caused you to go back to the basics, back to traditional wellness?
I would definitely say my mom. So my mom was a holistic nutritionist growing up. So me and my sister, whenever we were sick, she would kind of say, sleep it off, like take a rest day, sleep. What else? I don't know, tea with honey, that type of thing, lemon, honey. Essential oils, things like that, like really, really simple things. We wouldn't usually go to our family doctor, nothing like that. Like we would stay at home, rest.
Well, because what do they say? They say an apple a day. It keeps the doctor away, and I honestly believe that. And that's why I think a lot of the value in natural wellness lies. Is it's kind of like preventative health. It like when you are doing these things, when you're getting enough sleep, when you're putting good foods in your body, when you're practicing mindfulness on a regular basis, You don't go to the doctor as much because you're giving your body what it needs to function properly. It's in balance. And so none of these things that surface from it being out of balance, like illness, disease, all these things, they don't come around as much because your body's already got what it needs. I think even you mentioned tea and honey, that's typically like a remedy, right? I think it even does have some value when it comes to remedies too. Like, yes, preventative health, very much so, but even when you do get sick, my go-to, I get sick, my remedy, I think I've even told it to you, James. I think it's like, okay, buddy, get as much sleep, drink as much water, and eat as much fruit as you can. That is my trifecta of sick healing power is sleep, fruit, and water. The most basic things. No Advil, no antibiotics. And I don't think I've ever been sick for more than 3 days.
Yeah, growing up, I was honestly actually quite the opposite. Like I was used the common methods for treating a sickness, like the over-the-counter drugs, like Tylenol, NyQuil, all those things. And anytime I would feel sick or have a headache, it was like, take some Tylenol, or I'm feeling sick, it's here, take some NyQuil, or whatever it is. And I was actually so sick growing up. Like I was sick all the time, whether it was never ending. And I would take these Bandaid solutions. Yeah, sure, it would go away for a little bit, and then it would come back twice as bad weeks or a month later. And then it just was an endless cycle. And then finally, when I was about 17, 18, when I started living on my own and I started seeing these other ways that you could use, that you could treat a cold, for example, like the methods you had mentioned, like the eating a bunch of fruit and just drinking a lot of water and trying to get as much rest as you can. And that's when I started using CBD and things like that. And it's amazing how much that's affected my overall health and wellness. And I haven't been sick. I think in the past 2-3 years, I've maybe been sick 3 or 4 times. And those are sicknesses that'll last like maybe a couple days. And it'll go away. And that's, I let my body do its work. I give it natural foods and raw plant foods that it's not going to be too hard for it to digest. Let my body use the energy that it needs to fight the virus, rather than using that energy to try and figure out what the fuck I just put into it with these synthetic drugs or these crazy meals. Just really letting my body work its magic. As human beings, we've evolved over hundreds of thousands of years, and now we're trying to work backwards by throwing in these random synthetic chemicals that our bodies have no idea what the fuck they are, and trying to have them cooperate with our bodies they're meant to be using these plant medicines that have been evolving around us for these hundreds of thousands of years, not just these random synthetic chemicals that this Jim with the PhD just created in a lab 2 weeks ago or a year ago or whatever it is. Just now, I'm going to try this and hope that my sickness goes away. And then what do you know? The sickness maybe goes away for a little bit, but then it comes back 5 times as bad.
Man, there's so much that you just said that I want to touch on, and I don't know what to pick. I think the first thing that stuck with me is that, just to clarify, you were using the very common things that when you think medicine, that you think of Tylenol, Advil, these things, and you were using those, and you were more sick than ever. And it wasn't until you made the switch to my trifecta, CBD, these other natural remedies, that you got sick less, and when you did get sick, you were sick for shorter periods of time. Is that correct?
Yeah, like as soon as I started doing my own research and listening to my body, and rather than just listening to the methods that my family had used for years or that my doctor told me to do, I did my own research of what might work for me, and it actually did work. And that's definitely not to say that there's not a need for allopathic medicine or what we would call modern medicine. I mean, there's totally a need for it. There's certain things that it's needed for, but there's definitely so many things that we use it for that we just don't need to. Our bodies are so capable of solving those problems on our own. And
right.
The stuff that's been put on this planet to evolve around us is so much more effective at solving those problems than these crazy synthetic things that have been created in a lab.
So that was the second thing I wanted to get into. So when you say synthetic, like I think if you compare what like those words, synthetic and natural, it makes it obvious that like natural is the choice 10 times out of 10. But like we don't make that choice because synthetic medicine is way more prevalent than we think, right? Like I would even consider things like processed food to be synthetic. Even if you're even the produce that you get at the grocery store, if it doesn't have an organic sticker, guess what? It's being sprayed with synthetic chemicals that are made in a lab, right? So I don't think like when you say synthetic in that way, yeah, it makes it you would think that we would choose natural 10 times out of 10, but we don't. We don't. Right?
Absolutely. And for example, you see, I have a zinc deficiency. So people will think, okay, I'm going to go and get a zinc supplement because I need to increase my zinc intake. But when you go and get just that single tablet of zinc, you're not actually getting the same amount of benefits as you would from going and eating a shit ton of spinach. So sure, you're getting zinc and you're getting pure zinc and all these other fillers that are also pressed into this pill that you're taking. But that's a whole nother topic of the pharmaceutical industry we'll get into later. But Versus if you're going to go and eat foods that are rich in zinc, you're also getting the enzymes, the minerals, the other vitamins that are present in it, the proteins, all these other things that are helping your body absorb that zinc and helping it work with your body. Because we've been evolving around plants like spinach, for example, for years. And our ancestors have been using those things for years. So why are we trying to fight what already works and trying to fill it in with these other alternatives that, sure, they're targeted, but what are they really doing besides potentially even adding more damage than they are good? For example, a good example of this is warfarin, and it's actually a heart medication. And what it's also used for is a rat poison. Like, why not explore all the other options that are causing that heart disease rather than trying to just put this poisonous fucking thing into your body and seeing if it will help? Like, there's so many other options before resorting to that extreme of using a pill like that, such as increasing your level of exercise, fixing your diet, like drinking more water, reducing your stress, all these different things that are not even touched on when you go to the doctor with a heart problem, for example. They're just, there's this pill has been designed to help with that heart problem, so here's the pill. And it's like, it's just such a broken system.
It's scary. We've become so disconnected from our bodies and like even from the earth and its own I don't even know what the fuck am I trying to say? Like the earth and its own natural resources.
Resources, yeah.
Yes, because I mean, even us right now, we're talking about, like if you want to supplement your body with more zinc, it's like instead of actually going and finding foods that have that, we go to the store, we buy a pill, or not a pill, sorry, a supplement or a vitamin in a plastic container that we go, and it's like we're just so disconnected from like the root of health and the root of wellness. It's just, it literally boggles my mind. Like it's scary, I think, you know? And I mentioned this before we even started filming this podcast.
You just gave me chills.
Like,
yeah, dude.
The fact that we have to like...
I just got chills.
I know, it's scary to think about. I don't know. Gets a bit hippy-dippy, but if you think about it, it's true. And I mentioned this before we even started filming.
It existed way before hippies, though. Like...
It do be true. It's true. But it do be true. It sucks that we have to even classify like, like if you want to be healthy, eat some spinach. Like, holy shit, that should be common sense. But unfortunately, we've strayed. We've come so far. Like we've diverged. Yeah. The direction that we're headed is so far away from where we need to be going. And that's kind of how I got into natural wellness, was back in grade 9 or 10. This is a bit of a story, a bit of a tangent here, but I was experiencing my own health problems. And when I would go to my medical doctor, my family doctor, they would run tests. They would give me antibiotics, man-made synthetic medicine, I like to put it. And it would do nothing. It would do nothing for my body. It wouldn't fix what was really happening. And going back to what James would say, I felt like it was a Bandaid solution. And they were never really getting down to the root problem of what I was experiencing. And it made me feel really invalidated, honestly, kind of having somebody who's supposed to be a figure of leadership and of knowledge and of education telling you, first, there's nothing wrong with you, but what is supposed to fix you isn't going to be doing that.
Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I'm feeling it. I know there's something wrong with me. How the fuck are you gonna tell me that there's nothing wrong when I'm feeling it every day?
Exactly. It's mind-boggling.
Some test result. Sure, maybe this specific test that you just ran doesn't show any flags, but don't fucking tell me that there's nothing wrong, because I know that there's something wrong and I'm trying to find the source of it. That's why I came to you.
Yes.
And that's why I'm looking to you for help.
Right.
But don't try and tell me, there's nothing wrong with you, or here, try this pill, it might work. Like, try this pill, and I'm not even gonna mention what else might happen to you after you try this pill. Like, if you're feeling sick, you might not actually sleep, and you probably won't want to eat. And
the notorious end of a medical commercial where, yes, you know what, this pill is designed to do this thing and it will make your life better, but consult your doctor if you have liver damage, heart disease, you die. How is dying a side effect? That's the end result, bro. Right?
That's so terrifying.
And how am I going to consult my doctor if I'm
if
dead?
I'm fucking dead?
Right?
I don't know.
But the example that you just used, Jay, I think really hammers home the point. The reason that I think natural is the way to go is because, like, as soon as you involve people and corporations and ultimately profit into the equation, it no longer becomes about wellness. It becomes about, how can I sell the most enhanced product for the lowest amount of money so that people buy it at a mass scale, and that they do that and they use it on a daily basis so that and trick them into thinking that they don't have to, eat good foods because this pill does it all for them, right?
It's just...
Man, I could go off on that for hours.
Well, let's do it.
Let's
do it right now.
We're gonna do a specific. Really?
I'm just saying, like, as soon as you bring people into that, okay, we won't go as far as pharmaceuticals, but I'm saying as soon as you involve people in the equation, I think it gets a little dicey, a little bit risky, and so that's why, like, there is no such thing. Profit isn't part of the equation when you're using your own body, when you're doing things like sleeping, eating well, drinking water, practicing meditation and breath work. Profit is not part of the equation because it's just you. It's just you and your body. And for that reason, like, I think, I'm not going to say it's better, but it's absolutely safer. And you know what? All three of us have had success in doing that. Maybe we're anomalies, or maybe this is a trend, people.
It's not to say that allopathic medicine doesn't work or that there's not a need for it. There absolutely is a need for it. And we've not only evolved as humans alongside these plants, but we've evolved intellectually to be able to create some of these very innovative and miraculous medicines. And there's absolutely a time and place for everything, especially in the field of emergency medicine. I mean, there's allopathic practitioners in emergency medicine that do miraculous work and they save lives with allopathic medicine. And where there's a problem is with the prevention with healthcare prevention and health management. That's a huge problem. Like, if I'm having insomnia, or if I'm feeling anxious, I don't necessarily want to get a pill. But if I just cut off my hand, I don't want a fucking cup of herbal tea. Like, sew my fucking hand back on.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
There's definitely a time for it. It's just like,
I agree.
If I'm having anxiety or I'm having insomnia and like the common treatments aren't really working, then like maybe then I can resort to a traditional or an allopathic medicine. But it's like, that should be the last resort. The first thing should be trying to understand where that anxiety is coming from or where that insomnia is coming from, rather than just trying to put a Band-Aid on it and sort and cover up the problem and smother it down for it to just keep building up and then get worse. It's like, okay, let's figure out what the fuck's causing you to be so anxious so we can figure out how to reduce that so you're not feeling so anxious anymore. And if that's not working, there's definitely a level where you get to a certain level where it's extreme and it's like, okay, we need to use some of these medicine to get you back down to a level, and then we can re-explore some of those options. Like, this is totally not bashing traditional medicine in that sense. There's definitely a time and place for it. I just think that we're way too quickly jumping to that as the first and only solution, when there's so many other ways that we can fix these problems that we're not even exploring because they're hippy dippy, or that they're fucking like because it's weird, or because whatever. Like,
but they're also like systematically kind of marginalized, and I know those are two big words, but like, again, we can get into this in a later podcast, but there's a reason that natural medicine isn't as prominent, and there's a reason that this allopathic medicine is, and the jump between them wasn't as natural, I think, as history books tend to make it seem. There's actually a structural reason behind it. Ultimately, the fact that you can't patent natural medicine and that you can patent allopathic medicine, that is obviously general. There are nuances, but in general, that is kind of what guided the transition from natural to allopathic. And again, very profit hungry reason behind it. And as soon as you involve profit, well, yeah, now it no longer becomes about your wellness. It becomes about, okay, how can I sell this pill for how can I enhance this pill as much as possible and sell it for the least amount of money so that people use it on a day-to-day basis and don't think they have to do these things that we're saying are so important.
And start relying on it as a one-stop shop to fix problems. And really, that it comes full circle. Really, there's been a lot of education that hasn't really been shared with people, and a lot of people don't know about these things, and I think it's really important to shed light on them.
And that's what we do, baby.
That's what we do.
That's what we do, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Absolutely. We're basically just getting to the tip of the iceberg to show you what this podcast is all about. And if you stay tuned, if you're still listening at this point, we love you. We're excited to keep sharing our knowledge with you and to keep growing with you and to keep showing you these ways that you can keep thriving and living a healthy,
and for us to
happy
keep
life.
learning. we always want to learn
Absolutely.
as well.
Yeah,
Always,
that's the
always,
thing.
always.
Oh, I learned something on every one of these episodes.
Oh, for sure.
And we continue to learn every single day. Like we're always investing in ourselves. So this podcast will never go dry. We will always have some new form of wellness to talk about, some new productivity hack, some new company that's doing great things, that's part of the movement. We will always have something to talk about because these things are so embedded into our daily lives. So, you know what? We got so much more to come. To reiterate what Jave said, we love you, man. And women, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you got some value out of this podcast on natural wellness and how it is distinguished from other common, modern, man-made wellness. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon.